Hey, it's Joshua Vergara from Android Authority. What's going on, everybody? And we're taking a look at the Samsung Gear S3 and comparing it to the one that came before it, the Gear S2. Now, you're going to notice in this video that I'm focusing on the Gear S3 Classic and the Gear S2, the original one that doesn't have the classical look. Now, I keep using the word classic because that's basically where the Gear S3 derived its main look from. The Gear S2 original is the only one in the Gear S line that actually looks the way that it does, with the somewhat more sportier look. But of course, that means that we're taking a look at a smooth, rotating, clicky bezel when compared to the one that has the ridges on it on the Gear S3 Classic and Frontier. Now, the look of these two devices is quite different. If you're looking for something a little bit, like I said, sportier, also maybe a little bit sleeker, the Gear S2 just might be the device that you're looking for, and it's also a little bit more, let's say, inconspicuous with its slightly smaller design. A 1.3-inch display on the Gear S3 makes it just that little bit larger than the Gear S2, so that might be something you need to consider. And in the Gear S2, you have to use the proprietary watch straps. It's something that might keep customization kind of at a minimum when compared to the Gear S2 Classic and the two Gear S3 devices, because with those lugs on the top and bottom, you can use any 22mm watch strap. It really comes down to how these two devices look and which one you're really looking for. Obviously, there is the Gear S2 Classic, which is slightly smaller than the two Gear S3s while retaining a very similar look. But as far as capabilities go, there's a lot that's still the same between these two, especially considering the displays, which are still Super AMOLED displays. Only the always-on display of the Gear S3 will allow for even more colors and more customization. From there, however, you also get LTE connectivity on the Gear S3 Frontier line, which will allow for the watch to be even more standalone because you can then receive notifications and even take calls, which you can do on both of the Gear S3s using the speaker and microphone combo. We're actually not expecting too much more battery life out of the Gear S3, mainly because it has a larger cell, yes, but also more capabilities, including GPS and the slightly larger screen. The Gear S3 line has the NFC and MST support, so you'll be able to go to pretty much any pay station at major retailers and be able to pay using the built-in Samsung Pay. The app ecosystems for both will remain the same, so even if you get new applications on the Gear S3, you will still be able to use them on the Gear S2 as well. So there are some main changes between these two devices, but not so much that you would have to put away or replace your Gear S2 if it's already performing well and you don't need the new features. If you are in the market for a new smartwatch or even your first one, mainly it'll come down to the looks of these two devices and the very few features that actually put the Gear S3 that much farther forward than the Gear S2. We have yet to hear really what the main release date and price will be for the Gear S3, but right now the Gear S2 is still available and it will not be replaced by the Gear S3 when it is released. So you can take a look at both of these devices, not necessarily as one over the other, but as two in the same line from the Samsung Gear line. Keep it tuned to Android Authority for even more about the Gear S3, including more comparisons, and when we get our unit, we'll bring you our thoughts in a full review. Stay tuned to Android Authority's YouTube channel and head on over to AndroidAuthority.com for more about IFA 2016, because we are your source for all things Android.